Welcome everybody to the weekly WP Roundup with BJ Keeton. That's me, and every week we get together on Friday afternoon and we talk about the best news and tutorials and resources that were published this week about WordPress. So we have a very active community in the comments, and I would love it if you would say hello, get to know each other a little bit. Feel free to ask any kind of questions that you have. And I apparently have sound going, which I thought I didn't. Apparently, I'd unmuted a site that I didn't mean to. But before that happened, as I was saying, feel free to ask any kind of questions that you may have about WordPress, about Divi, elegant themes, whatever. We have a wonderful community that's in the chat, so we all gotten to know each other a lot, so they're very, very helpful, so feel free to chime in that way. Keep in mind that every link I'm going to be talking about, all the news, resources, and tutorials are available in the description of this video, so feel free to expand that, click through, and let all the content creators who we're linking to know how wonderful they are, because without them, we couldn't be doing this. So I'm going to check the comments and see we have a lot of people already. That's awesome on YouTube. Hello to everybody. My goodness, there's a lot of people from Norway and Wyoming, Ireland and Denmark, India, New York. Man, we are all over the globe this time. That's fantastic. That is awesome. So I want to start out by going into the news. Like, this wasn't a ridiculously big news week or anything. There wasn't anything just like super absurd released or anything. Nothing broke majorly. What they did announce, though, and I want to thank WPMU Dev for sharing this and bringing it to my attention, they have announced the very first regional WordCamp Asia. This is awesome. In 2020, in February of next year, there is going to be a WordCamp Asia in Bangkok, Thailand. And it is going to be awesome. Anytime that these regional WordCamps happen, it's amazing. Anyway, they're amazing. Y'all have heard me talk about WordCamp Europe and WordCamp US and just these big ones. So now we're going to have one that's centralized in Asia, in Thailand. So if you're in that area, if you're able to more easily travel there next year than Europe or to the US, that WordCamp is going to be fantastic for you to attend. The link in the description here is the tweet that they sent out, that WordCamp sent out. They don't even have a website yet, the WordCamp official website, but they did announce it, and I thought that was so fantastic when I saw that WPMU Dev had mentioned that I just had to let you guys know about it. Because that's big news. So support them if you can during their very, very first WordCamp. Then, speaking of WordCamps, the other news that I found was a list of mini podcasts. WP and Up is a nonprofit organization that deals with mental health and health within the WordPress community, things that don't really get talked about that much in terms of desk workers, information workers like we are. So they're fantastic anyway, and they've done what they're calling a Press Pause mini podcast series that really is about WordCamps, that is about why to go to WordCamp and how to make new friends at WordCamp, organizing them, how they're for everybody. And so I was already wanting to talk about these because I'm enamored by podcasts and I'm enamored by WordCamps. So to have both of them kind of coincide like this, it was never an option not to mention them. So you should totally listen to these. They're great, and I think that you will absolutely enjoy them. And if you struggle with mental health, if there are any kind of issues that go on, absolutely check out WP and Up. They are good people over there. So remember that there are a lot of ways that you can reach out and connect with other people and get the help that you need. And WP and Up is just one of those. So like I said, good people, good things that they do. Man, I see even more: Texas, Bolivia, Cyprus, Alberta, New Orleans. I feel like Yakko from the Animaniacs singing the countries of the world. But that's the news this week. I mean, I didn't have a lot, like I said, the news wasn't anything big this week, so I wanted to mention that stuff. The tutorials, however, there's a lot of good stuff in tutorials and resources this week, and I see that before I move into that, Tobias has mentioned all-in-one migration 6.97 has a vulnerability, and that they fixed that in version 7.0. So if you can't see that comment or don't follow the chat or on Facebook where that wasn't posted, then definitely check that out by upgrading if you use all-in-one migration. I really do appreciate bringing that to my attention. That wasn't one of the things that had popped up on my security list this morning, so thank you. When I was going back through and making sure I had everything. So I really do appreciate that. So under tutorials, the first one that I have was something that I've talked about a lot. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but we had done an article. I'd written one on using storytelling in marketing. And I think this is really, really important, that the more we move into trying to reach out to the people and solve the problems that we're solving instead of like selling our product, that telling stories and using narrative is a big part of this. And so the article I think is great. I mean, I wrote it, so of course I'm biased there. But what I wanted to call out on this one in particular was there was a gentleman named Steve Cooper who commented on the article and had said that this article had ignited a new initiative for their small home theater and smart home integration company. That they said that in their case, clients do give them permission to use non-identifying pictures, and they use them on their websites and things like that. And they said that they've maintained a gallery with no text up until this point. And thanks to this post, this is the really cool part, they're going to expand on that concept to make that gallery into a case study section, where they're going to have talking about the client's motivation, what they wanted and what they did for them. So you kind of have that beginning, middle, and end of telling the story. And as you move through that with them, they were talking about doing a short video for their YouTube channel with it. He had mentioned the Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram treatment that everything gets anyway. And then a short interview with them, if they can, be maybe part of the text or the video, where that's the kind of stories that really get other people in. Those kinds of storytelling initiatives are great, and I am very, very excited to hear back from Steve to see what they do with this and see the results, because I think that's a fantastic idea. That's just a fantastic idea on his part. And I see people on YouTube just now saying that the audio is fading in and out. That is strange. It's showing on mine that it's stable. I'm going to move that away, and I'm going to move this back forward. I think that there might be a short in my mic cable. So hopefully that will have worked that out. Hopefully that is. I'm really sorry about that, y'all. Let me adjust this. See how that does. Did that happen to come back now, you guys? Let me see how. Man, I know it's weird for me just moving that, but it's fine now. Okay, cool. I see fine now. I will fix that. So hopefully, let me know if that happens again. Like I said, I do think it's the mic cable doing that. So always got to adjust something, right? All right. So like I said, the the storytelling and marketing tutorial really is a good idea, and I wanted to bring that up because of Steve's, and to make sure that you guys think about that if there may be a better way to do what you're doing to focus in on the people you deal with, that makes it seem a lot more personal to prospective clients and customers. So the second one under here I really liked was Divi Space. They did a tutorial on how to add a ribbon to Divi modules, where really it's the kind of thing that you see all the time, but it's just a really, really quick, easy way to do it with like 50% off ribbons, where you have something sashed over the corner, calling it out, where you can use different margins and different modules to be able to do it and set it on. Like, it's really, really cool. I like it. There's not really a whole lot to say about it. I just think it's pretty. They provide the code that you need to be able to do this. They give you the classes, the CSS, and everything that you need to do in the Divi modules themselves. And so like I said, I really thought it was going to be useful to somebody just to have that kind of information. I see fading again, and I literally didn't move. That is so very strange. It may not be anything on my hardware end after all. This is weird. And it's not showing anything. For you guys who are talking about the sound, it's not showing anything in my software about the sound dropping down. It's very strange. Because when you say that, I'll look down and don't see it. And it's not peaking or dropping too low. It's weird. But let me know. Then I always want to bring up when Donyetta or Jason have a really, really awesome tutorial, because y'all know that they're wizards. And I think that Donyetta's this week on how to create a 3-step blurb reveal on Hover, where when there's something there and then it just kind of splits. It's really, really cool. Donyetta is fantastic at this stuff. Like, hers always blows me away on the stuff that she does. And what I wanted to mention specifically on this one, I brought up because it's beautiful and it's great, and that I'm going to actually be able to get this working on a couple of my sites, I think. But what I love is that we were having our content meeting this week. And we were talking about new ideas for tutorials and them coming up with different things. And Donyetta and Jason were saying just how versatile the Blurb module is. That if there was like an image or an icon, like you could put an image on top of it, there would be no reason to use anything else. You can do so many things with the Blurb module. So I liked it because there was a Blurb module tutorial this week. And so I wanted to point out to you guys who use Divi all the time, I'm curious if you guys feel the same way about Blurb modules. That I wanted to see if that was something that you guys have noticed, if it's something that you get a lot of use out of, because I've used them a bunch in my designs, just because of the ways that you can customize them. I've seen them in the design team's layout packs. Jason and Donyetta use them a lot, so I'm really curious about how you guys use those as well. And I see Olivia on Facebook said that it did fade out on there too. Thank you. So it's not just YouTube. So apparently it's me. And yes, man, I say something about the blurbs and YouTube chat just dings up. Everybody loves the blurbs, so I'm glad to see that. Like, I'm glad that we're not alone, that you guys know the love too. And if you've not used blurbs, also now the word blurb sounds really funny to me. But if you guys have not used the blurb module very much, give it a shot. There is an awful lot that you can do with it. And I also like the person module myself, that I've seen some interesting things done with person as well. Vocal Out has a question. Says, how much would you charge a home automation company to design their website and add custom features? They need a residential and business website developed. Vocal, that depends. In terms of cost, with projects like that, it depends on how much customization they're going to need. If you're going to have to be digging in there and writing PHP and developing your own features and plugins, that can get into the tens of thousands of dollars very quickly. I have seen some sites that you can get for, $500 minimum. That's just a very simple 5-page spread without a lot of customization. But given that they're a home automation company and they're looking for custom features, that would definitely, in my book, be an hourly project that I don't think that you would be. I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. I don't think you would be doing yourself a favor to quote a hard price on it, because when you're dealing with custom features, there's a really good chance that things aren't going to work like you think they will. And so then you lower your overall rate by having to fix stuff. That said, depending on your area, will depend on what they're willing to pay for freelance work or contract work like that. But I know that there are a lot of people who when they put in their bid, that they average, like I've said before, between $75 and $150 an hour. Depending on how long the project is, you can, obviously work that out a little bit differently in bulk. And I've always been a really big fan of, I've mentioned this in the past, that I took it from Tobias Buckell, a science fiction author I really like, and I've talked to him about this. The way that he does his pitches to people are take similar websites that you've done or similar projects. He did this in terms of speaking engagements and said, for this kind of event, I've been paid as little as this and as much as this. And that way that the people get an idea of where your costs will be, as well as, if you're within their budget. That has worked out really well for me in the past as well. So if you have worked on similar websites dealing with similar customization, you might want to show them a range of that, and then look into what you're going to be needing to do for 2 particular websites. Running on 2 of them like that, depending on how much they need to overlap and the feature set. I mean, you could be looking at a very, very, very expensive website. I'm sure there are some people here in the comments who can also speak to that. That we have a really good, we've had really good conversations on pricing and payment and things like that before. But my favorite way is to look at the bare minimum that you can take. Like let's say that you cannot take less than $5,000 for the amount of time that it has, but you've had a fantastic contract that you've been paid $30,000 for. So you can say, well, I've been paid, $5,000 before for a project like this with minimal customization. I've been paid as much as $30,000 for this just amazing everything. It just depends. That's the kind of thing that works well for me. And it depends on your area too. If they're a company based out of New York or San Francisco, they're going to get probably be used to paying a higher price, even if you're not from those areas. If that's where they are, then a company, say in like Florence, Alabama, where I am, which is our county has 60,000 people in it. So that's what I would do. And the sound's gone again. I don't know what's up. It's weird. Turn it back. Turn it off and turn it back and see how that goes. I see Judy says that the pop-up corner contact blurb that Donetta showed us is great. Yes, I actually didn't link to that one because I was going to mention it because of this one with the blurb. So thank you, Judy. It is really good. And WKI Media has asked... question here too, why on earth do the newest images go to the back instead of the front of the gallery to drag and drop 50 images to the front as a job? That I don't know. I know there are a few gallery issues that are bugs like that. And I know if Video Superhero is watching this, he's asked me about the about the thumbnails not working and using the raw image itself. That is a bug. That in particular is a bug that is in our GitHub that is going to be addressed. So Video, if you're watching this, that is something that that is in line to be fixed. But that said, I don't actually know about that, WKI. I think that might be a bug. It does not sound like something that we would put in, by design. And I haven't used the gallery one enough. Honestly, I just use regular image. That is there an ordering, ascending or descending kind of thing in that one for uploads? Like, I don't know. That's one that I truly have no idea because I don't have enough experience with that one module. But I would actually contact the support staff and ask, and if they say that's the case, see if you can put in a bug report on that so that we can get one in GitHub so that it can be worked on. Hopefully, the Olivia on Facebook asks, if we're building a site and we get stuck, sorry, maybe you've answered this in the past, is there a direct phone call support line? I know you have a chat support, but looking if there's a direct number. And no, Olivia, right now we do not have any kind of direct phone support. It is just live chat, and then we have also the connection between the back end of your site and the support team using the secure token, but we do not have phone support. Reading comments, sorry. I've mentioned this before where I get distracted by the comments and I know it's live and I'm like, I'm so sorry I have dead air. Wayne asks if there is any way to bypass the success message and go directly to the redirect page when submitting an email message on the Divi contact form. I want to say I've done that, and I thought it was just because I had used a redirect page on there within the module. That is a good question, Wayne. Mercier, maybe? I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. That is as much as I hate to say this on something like that, that might be a support question, just because I don't know. Maybe I've just left the success message blank and the redirect went through immediately. That's all I can remember. Like, I don't remember having to do anything special for that. That's why I'm kind of drawing a blank right now, because I didn't think there was anything. I didn't have to jump through any hoops to do that. I think I just had a blank. Okay. There we go. George on YouTube says you can just remove the success message, and if you leave it blank, it doesn't display. So awesome. That is what I did. I just deleted it then and did that. So thank you, George, for verifying, because I could not, like I said, I couldn't remember if there were any hoops that I jumped through for that, but I know that I've done that. So thank you. SEO Efforts asks another question, please. If I use Divi for my client websites, do they have access to the Divi builder? And what about the license? Do they have access to it? I I see that Tobias M says you have control on which users should have access to the Divi builder. Yes, you can do that through the Divi role editor. If you go into your WordPress admin settings, you'll see the Divi options and then the Divi roles, Divi role editor, and you can adjust who sees what and who can adjust what and who can use what kind of modules. It is great for that kind of thing. That said, with the API, Tobias says all they'll see is stars. They will also only see stars for your username, so you don't have to worry about that either. And yes, they are licensed under your membership. You are licensed, I suppose. You are licensed to allow them to use Divi using your API codes. That's what they're there for. So you can go into your member dashboard, generate a new API code, label it client F, and then use that one on there. They won't see the API code, they won't see your username, but they will have their very own API code that can then connect to support or you or anything else and get updates and all that. So if you ever change it, that is that's what I would really suggest doing, is using multiple API keys that way, since you can generate an unlimited number of them and label them within the dashboard. It's really, really good like that. But yeah, they're licensed to do it as long as you use your username, you use an API key from your account, it'll update and keep going like that. And if you don't want them to access the Divi builder, if that's one of the things, if you don't want them to have access to the Divi builder, then you can use that Divi role editor and prevent that. So they can only go in on pages and edit text modules or something like that, where they can't ruin or mess with or update or anything. I don't even want to say ruin, because that's really negative and it's not necessarily the case. They won't be able to mess with any of your settings and then it break a feature that you've very carefully put in. So try that and it will work. I think that should work for you. And yeah, George is right. Divi's awesome for having the lifetime license. I love the lifetime license. That is one of the biggest selling points to me about Divi. On top of using it, I mean, I'm a user, but I think that the lifetime license and just getting that is fantastic. What I also think is fantastic, and I want to make sure that everybody out there knows this, that even if you're not a lifetime member, you don't have to worry about security updates. We push updates and allow updates to everybody when it's a security update. If there is something in there where we know that there is a security flaw, we work as quickly as we can to update that. So let's say that you are running an older version of Divi, you didn't re-up your membership, then you can absolutely go update Divi for that security update. If you will not need to worry about insecure sites. So we really want to focus on you guys, and so I wanted to make sure that y'all knew that if hopefully you're signed up for an annual re-up, or you're a lifetime member, but if you're not, or if you know someone who's not, you'll still get security updates. So never fear on being left out or something being compromised that if you don't. So I think that that's a wonderful thing. We do, and yeah, George says yet another plus with Divi. They do security audits. We do constantly, and when something is brought to our attention, whether it's a plugin thing, I said last time I don't want to use thing, plugin incompatibility or something that hits with a major plugin, will definitely push out security updates. So we really do care about you guys. I see Vocal says, I have a hard time charging my clients, but it's good to have an idea. I've been paid $400 in the past, but I want to change that mentality. Vocal, one of the that's really awesome to get that. That first paying gig, and I don't know if that was your first, but just in the past, I have a hard time charging clients too. I actually thought about it in the shower today that I've yet to invoice a side gig that I did a few weeks ago that just took a few hours over the weekend that I forgot to send an invoice. I should probably do that and get paid. One of the hardest things is treating ourselves like we're professionals and seeing that what we do has skill. I've said don't ever work for free. That no matter what it is, get compensated. Even if they bake you a cake, even if your cousin wants a website and they can't pay you any money. I have a cousin who takes me out and gets like Herbalife shakes at the Flow Nutrition downtown when we're working on something, and I'll do that, and he'll take me out for that. Or get your aunt to bake you a cake if you have to move her from Weebly to WordPress. But whatever it is, get compensated and start getting used to that. And it'll come easier. And don't sell yourself short. If you've made $500, $400 in the past, you've learned something since then, and you can charge more the next time. And then you'll find out what the standard rate is that you can earn, and you can really start branching out from there and finding your sweet spot of the price that you can charge and the number of clients that you can handle at a time. I'm glad that Divi has changed a lot for you. That's what we want to hear. That is literally the reason that we do this, is so that we can help you guys make a better life for yourselves. That is our whole thing, is wanting this community to be as empowered as possible. So it makes me really, really, really happy to hear that. I see Olivia says, I'm finding that my subscriber box isn't working and that it gets a 404 error. That's what kind of subscriber box are you using, Olivia? Is that like the are you going through Monarch or not Monarch, but Bloom or anything like that, or is it a particular, or is it a module within Divi itself for the forms or something? I'm curious so that we can figure that out. And if anybody else has had on YouTube or on Facebook here, where she's asking if there is a lifetime membership, I read that. If you've had a 404 error with any subscribe boxes that you've been able to fix. Excuse me. So I do want to move forward just a tiny bit down the tutorial list. TorqueMag has published an article called Code Formatting and Code Comments, a Beginner's Guide. This is very important that whether you only code in CSS and HTML, or whether you are writing JavaScript and pulling in and working with libraries like React and Vue, whatever it is, formatting your HTML and formatting your markup in CSS is super important. Making sure that it's readable, making sure that it makes sense to somebody who's coming later. And that's what they do here, is looking at PHP, showing how arrays can be lined up and why code editors can make this so much easier, talking about good JavaScript. They talk about naming conventions within each of them. They talk about making sure that you're using, let's say, camel case when you're supposed to, or snake case, if that's the best practice. And then code comments. Y'all, code comments are so important. If you do anything, and I'm saying anything, in your website, like adding, like changing something for a child theme, learn to comment it. Put in HTML, CHS, I don't even know what that is, CSS, PHP, whatever you're doing, comment it. Whatever you change, because somebody's going to come after you and they're not going to know what it is. So if you explain it, they will know what that is. And by somebody coming after you, sometimes that somebody is you, that you're going to look at that and have zero idea what you did or why you did it, but you just know that it's causing a problem. And if you make a comment about what you did, it makes so much of a difference. And that's what this is learning how to do that and include good comments and clarifying what you're doing in there. It's great. This article goes through so much of that I think everyone will get a lot out of it. I see Tobias says using an auto formatter in Microsoft Visual Studio Code. Yes, VS Code is awesome. That auto formats when saving your code. Like stuff like that is great. I was writing an article on semantic HTML that I turned in today, and I had the article that I was writing open in one editor, and then I had Sublime Text in another one in another window, because I couldn't stand writing the HTML when it didn't auto format. That I had to have everything set up in the editor to make it format correctly, and it saves so much time. So anytime you do that, find a good editor, and copying and pasting and saving and uploading is so much easier than working otherwise. I think that's a really, really, really important thing to get used to. See, I've got a question. Nice to see you live stream. It's nice to see you too, Bob. How come on the front end of the page builder, when you hover over a text element and select text settings, how come you can't set the text size? You can only move a slider and select the tags H1 to H4. That's something that I've run into as well, where I think that is just there as a kind of a quality of life thing for when you do need to adjust it. You can go in on the module settings and do it, but you'll get a lot more granular control by going in. I agree that the hover settings are not the most ideal. In fact, I pretty much don't use the slider anymore, because I use it messes with my the predefined CSS and default. But I think that you're right. It is frustrating on that end. I will agree. But make sure that you know that you can go in on the module settings itself. It'll bring up the settings window, and you can go into the design tab and hit text, and go into the text, just the one that says text, not heading text, not anything like that, but it'll be just text, usually, or body text or content text, and you'll be able to adjust the size there. That is one of the most annoying things that I find when I'm using it. It's actually made me stop doing typing on the front end usually, and do it within the settings module, the module settings itself. But I feel your pain. And as far as I know, that I haven't seen that on the list of things to fix. So I think that's the way that one's going to be for a little while. Now, I'm not saying that it's not going to be fixed. I'm saying I haven't seen it. So that's something that I don't know how they're doing. Uncle Social says he's so old that in college they taught us to code in Turbo Pascal, and it's absolutely useless. I learned Fortran 77 in high school, and that is equally useless. See, there's a really good conversation going on here about trying to decide. Vocal says trying to decide between Elementor and Divi was pretty straightforward, but especially with the pricing, and your support guys are great. Emoji. I just have to learn how to make blogs with Divi and WooCommerce too. With that in mind, we do have a WooCommerce module update coming very soon. I think responsive images are coming first, and then WooCommerce. The last I saw, that was Monday. So we're hoping, but that one will be coming ASAP. And then I'm obviously a Divi guy. I like the experience of building with Divi better than Elementor. That is, I was using Divi before I even worked here, so take that for what you will, but I do like that. Elementor is good. I mean, I can't say anything about that. I just actually like the workflow in Divi a lot better. Tobias says it's hard to compare that he lives in Denmark in terms of how much to charge. They have the highest taxes in the world, so prices tend to be higher. They charge $5,000 is probably around minimum. And so that in Canada, graduated school with CS, Vocaliz, and just started web development business, trying to gather infos regarding charging your clients. You don't want to get ripped off. Okay, Vocal out. This is one thing I was told. I've mentioned this before, so everybody just bear with me. I was told by a WordPress professional at my very first WordCamp that charging $50 an hour was an unlivable wage for doing that. That's what I was charging at the time, and just doing it as a job. That he was up to $150 an hour, and I've had friends who were told that at $75 an hour they were charging too little for what they could do. You may being out of fresh out with your CS degree, that you may work on getting clients at a lower rate and then start going up. That's something everybody does, but don't sell yourself short. Look at prices, things like that. But I think that at bare minimum, in my mind, bare minimum is $50 an hour. And like Nathan said to me, not Nathan Weller, our guy, a different Nathan, he told me that 50 is an unlivable wage, although Canadian dollars are worth a little more than the US right now, I believe. So you'll be doing a little bit better. I see Daryl learned in Basic. I did some QBasic, was one of my first ones as well. I went Fortran, then went to QBasic. Oh man, Judy did it on a Tandy 1000. Man, Tandys. Hadn't messed with a Tandy in so long. Linda Bodkin says, I'm so old that there weren't any computers. I'm just proof that you can learn at any age. That's fantastic. That's awesome, Linda. I'm so glad that you're here. I like Uncle Social's term there, a digital immigrant. That's a really good way of putting it. I joke that I'm not quite that digital native that people thinks we are, because I remember a time before I had a computer, before the internet, back when we had rotary phones, that I'm just old enough to remember a world before the Nintendo. That those kind of things weren't everyday things, but it was like I said, just old enough where I'm not quite digital native, but because of that, I've had to learn how it all works, and that's where we are today. I think a lot of us are in that game. And then I see on, I see Bob on, Facebook says Elementor seems to be in the lead with the header and footer builder and all of that. WooCommerce, ACF, like it doesn't have repeater field support. Changing text size is easy. We are going to get the header and footer and theme builder and all that regarding the WooCommerce and template builder and stuff like that in Divi 4.0. That's being worked on right now for the marketing plan to launch that very, very soon. Have not been told a date, but as soon as I get a date on that, I will let you guys know. I got distracted because Daryl was talking about the Atari 2600 and Atari Pong. I know, right there. My cousin gave me his Atari 2600 when I was 2 years old, and I was very, very excited to have that adventure. Made me very, very happy. Tobias asks, have you had a chance to get a sneak peek into the coming WooCommerce module? And I have. It has just been a sneak peek. I've seen a little bit of it. I've seen the design and the mock-ups. I say mock-ups, it's the sketch that they use, the sketch files that they've used to create the design and things like that and move over into it. I've seen it, and it's going to be great. Like, it's really good. I haven't actually used the build that has it in there, but it's really, really good. And yes, you're going to be able to design product pages with it. That's what we're going to be doing, where you're going to, right now, the last time I saw it, and this was a month and a half ago that I saw this in particular, I think. it'll be, and you open WooCommerce on the module builder, and then it expands into different blocks and modules that you'll be able to use to design your product page. That was the last that I saw on it, so you're going to be able to get full control over the digital designing the product pages like you want, like you're mentioning here. I think you'll be really, really happy with the way this is working out. So I'm very, very happy about that. And I see Naeem asks, what hosting would you suggest if I have 50 plus clients? Whew, I'm gonna let the audience take that one. Because there is a lot to consider when you're doing 50 plus clients. One of the most stable, if you're getting them to pay for it, is WP Engine. Kinsta, Flywheel, I could not think of the name of it for a second. Those are major platforms that you can use, but you're paying on a per site basis. But you may want to get you could get a shared hosting plan. You could get a virtual private server. A VPS would be really good for that kind of thing. But Tobias has mentioned here, it depends on how much traffic each site is getting. But with that many, a regular shared host would probably overload. I would not do 50 or something on there, but I would... managed hosting would be great. Like, that's the kind of thing that I could see on Flywheel, great, and WP Engine, wonderfully. It would just be a little costly for each site, but if they're working with you and paying that kind of maintenance fee, and that's included in that, it may be one of the best options is to look at managed hosting or a VPS somewhere, or as he says, a dedicated hosting. Get a dedicated host server for that, because it's the reason I like managed hosting is because so much stuff is handled for you in terms of the back end and making sure that performance is up, that stays up. That's really, really important. And so they handle that stuff. I love the comments in here, y'all, because I'm reading this even before I can get back to anything. It's like, sounds like there are a cohort of elders in here. My basic course was in uni long after high school. Digital elders, not digital immigrants. That's digital immigrants positive term. I agree. Digital immigrant is a positive term. I always joke that I don't know what I am with that, but I like the term. So we only have a few minutes left, so I want to move a little bit forward in the tutorials. There is a very short episode of WP the podcast that I think everyone should listen to on how to do Instagram the right way for business, and it's very helpful. I have a friend who is working on teaching us how to do, I say us, like me and some other friends, on how to do Instagram for business, because Instagram baffles me. That's where I'm just out of my league. And then... there is how to create an online community using User Pro. That is really awesome. I'm all about creating online communities. And then CSS Tricks actually has an article. This is a sponsored post. However, it's for a service that I've been really curious about for a while, so I really liked the breakdown. CSS Tricks has an article titled, "So, you think you've got project management nailed down?" And it's for Monday. And this is obviously project management software, and it feels to me like a mix between Trello, Asana, and Basecamp. And it's one of those that I've been really interested in, and so this look at it and how it works seems really interesting to me. And so I wanted to put it on here on what it is, where they do things like that, because more than anything else, I'm curious if you guys have used it, because I've seen it multiple times over the past little while, and it really does seem cool. And I want to bring it to y'all's attention too, if you're looking for that kind of thing. So when I saw the article on it mentioning it, I was like, I got to know about what you guys think about Monday, because I'm all about project management software. And then moving into resources very quickly before we have to end, I wanted to point you to the article that Security did, the very first one under resources, called The Strange Case of the Malicious Favicon, where that you can get code in your favicons that will mess things up, that it's an infection, it's a hacking kit, that it's really cool how I say cool in the way that I'm interested in this stuff, not cool for anybody that this happened to. It clones files, it gives backdoor code into the sites, so just read about that, it's neat. And then one of my favorites this week is, I think, the third one on there. Yeah, the third one, that is the theme aisle redesign that Code and WP did. I think that every one of us can learn something from this article. These are some of my favorite kinds of articles where they take a look at an entire process of overhaul and redesign to find out what works and what those particular people and audience and users needed. So for this theme aisle redesign, this one's a case study, and it's categorized under transparency report on how it went and how much it cost. And so they look at what brought theme aisle into needing a redesign, talk about their technical debt on how it was slowing down website speed and their shopping cart infrastructure. Then they started talking about designing landing pages for mobile, and just how much it cost, how much of the technical debt was solved from being able to do a redesign, what that constituted. And they said that after this redesign, after they took all of this in, that the loading times on the site are 50% faster now. And that kind of performance is nuts for a redesign. Like, that's a really good redesign and well done. So I'm always interested in these. I wanted y'all to see this so that you could look at it and see whether or not there's anything that you can learn as you're going through your next design projects. If you have a revamp, if there's anything that you may want to include or that you think might need to be changed that would make everything better. So I like the theme aisle ones. I'm always looking for more of those to break it down. And I'm going to finish up with this one. It's the Velocitize one under that's called About Face. Facial recognition trends to watch in 2019, because everybody is talking about Face app. Like, everybody is talking about Face app right now. Partially because of their very vague and weird terms of service where they have rights to your face. Be careful about that. Read about that if you're using the app at all. They have your face. But this one, facial recognition is really cool. Like, I didn't think that I was going to like Face ID on Apple iPhone for a while, and when I got it, it's really nice. I liked it on my Samsung as well. It's really, really cool. And it talks about taking intelligent shopping, where you can have facial recognition when you walk into a store. Things like that. Smartphone and convenience features. Like I said, I absolutely love Face ID. Didn't think I would. And it's air travel is something they're talking about to watch out for. That if you're in the industry where you're dealing with anything like that, facial recognition is going to be big. They talk about how that kind of thing can streamline the check-in experiences for airlines and law enforcement and things like that. Like, there's been a lot of stuff, like, say, from the London cameras and different things of how facial recognition can work with law enforcement, lots of lawsuits, different kind of things. It mentions the ethical ramifications of that, where there's a lot going on with facial recognition right now, and it's really, really going to be an advancing software soon. And whether any of us actually work on coding that, we're going to be dealing with that, and we're going to be dealing with the security issues that come from that. Because it's not going to be long before those of us who are working in any kind of security, like having to secure a website like this, we're going to be the ones who are having to implement these things as they become more widespread. So I think I wanted to bring this up so that everybody could have it in your mind, just be thinking about it a little bit more. And since everybody's talking about Face App, maybe you'll read this one and see that you can stay on top of the trends here. I do see as we've... I see Mirza Shars, probably mispronouncing that, but I'm sorry, on Facebook, says, I like the way you speak English. I appreciate that. This is my my homegrown Southern accent from Southern Tennessee and now North Alabama. So I appreciate that, Mirza. I see that people are now mutinying to get Divi shirts, so I'll have to protect myself from you guys. I'm hoping that there will be swag soon. For some of you guys, and you'll be able to meet us at different places, and we'll have swag for you, I hope, so that you can release me from captivity. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate you coming out today. There's a lot that we didn't get to in the description of this video, so make sure that you check it out. Make sure that you click through on the links and give all of those content creators the love that they deserve. I really, really appreciate the conversations that we've had today and the help that you've provided each other. Y'all are fantastic, and I want you to know that that you guys are the reason that we do this, and we really, truly appreciate that. I see Olivia says we would love swag t-shirts. The ones I know about that, Olivia, are in from WordCamp US, are the ones that I've known where those are. So I'm not sure. We're looking at being there this year. I haven't heard about t-shirts yet, but if y'all are looking at that, that would be my best bet for that. I like I said, I really appreciate y'all tuning in. Every Friday afternoon, I do this at 3 p.m. Eastern. We also have live streams on Monday morning at 6 a.m. Eastern if there's been a feature release. And every Tuesday afternoon, either Jason or Donyetta does a live stream use case on Divi and how to do a particular thing. I appreciate everyone's kind comments, and I will see you next Friday. Make sure that you ring the bell on YouTube and tell Facebook that you want us to want them to tell you whenever we go live so that you don't miss any of ours, because just subscribing doesn't get you notifications for live streams. So I appreciate it. I appreciate you, and I will see you next Friday, everybody. Y'all have a good one. Bye.